Okay, Chris, I'm going to show you a couple of quick things that you can do in order to help alleviate some of that lower back pain that we think is coming from your hip flexors, okay? Now, we want to kind of attack the psoas, which is going to be right through this area. If you remember, what I told you to do is put your pinky and your thumb, pinky on your hip bone and your thumb on your belly button, and that space in between where your palm is really the area that we're going to be trying to drive down into. Now, what I want you to start with first, and you can do this standing in a tall kneeling position, laying down on your back, whatever you want to do. I just want you to take your hand, your fingers, just like so. You're going to find that spot, and all you're going to do is rub right there. And you're really going to try to dig down inside that space as best you can. I'll show you here, right here, rubbing, digging down as deep as we can, really trying to get into it. Just rub 10 to 15 seconds. Move over to the other side, do the same thing. Rub, 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 rub. Really what we're trying to do is stimulate the nervous system to relax, stimulate to relax. We're trying to get the nervous system woken up, and ultimately if we have tension there, we're locked down. We don't have good signal going to that area of the body, so we're trying to loosen that area up. So rubbing, nice and hard, and we'll start there at that point. Now, continuing with this technique is called RPR, Reflexive Performance Reset. What I'm going to have you do is two more things for your psoas. So after we're done you doing the psoas, what I want you to do is to stand up, go right here on the inside of your quad, not directly in the middle, but out here on the thigh, and we're going to rub here as well. Apply a lot of good pressure. A lot of good pressure, really rubbing down inside the what's called the VMO. Now, lastly, all I want you to do is go right here behind your head. Take our fingers, and we're going to rub at the base of our skull. Rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. This area right here, believe it or not, is to excite the nervous system for the glutes themselves, okay? Because as I've mentioned to you before, part of releasing some of that hip flexor tension is really getting the glutes and the core to fire up properly. And we're going to come around the ears to the back of the jaw, where we typically keep a lot of tension. I'm going to open the jaw and press. Okay, that's good. So we rub here, we rub down on the VMOs, and we're going to rub at the back of the neck, right? Now, after you rub here, you may want to see, do I feel any release of tension? A lot of the time, if you've done it right, you'll feel a little bit looser, feel a little bit release of tension. Now, next thing I want you to do, we're going to take a trigger point ball. I only have this peanut here, so I'm going to use this, but if you have a single ball, that works as well. Find that space, again, between your pinky and your thumb, and lay down on the floor with that ball right in that area. And then all I want you to do is kind of drive it down towards your hip and just kind of sit in it. Sit in that position, okay? If you feel comfortable enough, we're going to flex the glute, lift the heel off the floor, and then back down. Then once we're done with that, we're going to loosen up. We're going to do two more things here, really quick. Nothing should take very long. We just want to kind of loosen it up. And the point of this whole thing is going to be consistency, okay? We want to do this every day. Do it before you work out. Do it after you've been sitting a long time. The thing is we have to override what's happening several hours a day of you sitting in a chair. And so we just really want to attack that as best as possible. We're going to take a foam roller. I have a trigger point roller here. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put it right at the top of my quad. Here's my hip bone, top of my quad, right where it starts to flex. And I'm going to lay on that real quick. And I can make small passes, rolling if I want. I can flex the knee, move it around a little bit, just loosening up some of the hip flexors. Okay? Finally, last thing I want you to do, we're going to go into a half kneeling position. Half kneel. Foot can be up or it can be down. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. I want you to focus here, not necessarily on pushing forward and stretching, but tilting the hips up so that the belt buckle comes up to the nose and then releasing. Tilting the hips up and then releasing. You'll notice my glute tucks under. My tail is tucking under My belt buckle is coming upward towards my nose. And that way we start to work on loosening those hips and getting the hips to tilt backwards into a neutral position out of the potential. What I would think is happening to you is probably your hips are being tilted into this anterior tilt. It's creating back tension because the hip flexors are pulling down, right? So we want to, again, here, tuck the tail under. You can also think about driving the knee into the floor. That kind of helps me a little bit as well. And then releasing. If you want to try this laying on your back, you can do that as well. Laying nice and flat, tuck the tail under. You'll push the lower back down to the floor and then release. Push under and then release. So to recap that, we have our RPR, reflexive performance reset. Rubbing, okay? And then we're gonna use our trigger point ball. We're gonna sit in that area, just kind of let it dig in a little bit. We're just trying to release tension through the psoas as much as possible. Then we're gonna use our foam roller on the top of the quads here. You can go all the way through the quads if you want. Again, just sit there for a minute or two, nothing too crazy. And then we'll work on some pelvic tilting, okay? And I think that right there is gonna be something that's gonna be really useful for you. If you notice that you feel like you are in this pelvic tilt and you're going here, okay? Maybe watch yourself in the mirror. We wanna kind of refrain from doing anything from here and have it all come through the hip, okay? I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please text me, reach out to me. We can talk about it. One of these days, I'm gonna get you in club. We're gonna work on some things. That way I can get my hands on you, kind of show you some stuff that would be really useful to carry your programs forward. Enjoy.